I need to get a new sound system. The speakers are blown. It's a shame. It's a shame. It's a shame. Right now, the band, if you're watching this band is called Sean. I can't get a copyright strike for this. I shouldn't. I'm gonna see what happens. There should be no copyright bullshit with this. There should be no copyright issues. Yeah, you're listening to Sean. The band's called Sean. I'm gonna make my bed. We'll get started in a little bit. We're already 3 minutes in. We'll get started here. You wanna watch me? I'm gonna make my bed real fast. You wanna see how I make my bed? Alright, my bed's made. Check it out. Whoa. Isn't that beautiful? Hey, what's up, man? I'll get started in a little bit. I'm just fucking around, waiting if anybody else comes in. So let me turn the music down. So, I made some additions to my tiny home. You can tell me if this is stupid or not. I don't care because I like it. So I got these double doors, and I put one here. This kind of divides the kitchenette from everything else. This is my tiny home. So this is these double doors, and I paid $120 for both of them. And I put one here as a divider to divide my kitchenette from everything else. And then I put the other one right here. Where? Right here. So, and then I just made my bed. And I know it seems like somebody made a comment which I had to agree somewhat. When I was showing my tiny home, they said that it looks like what's that magazine? Good Home and Garden magazine or some shit. They were making fun of me because I try to make my place nice, my little tiny home. And so anyways, there's a reason there's a very specific reason that I have my place set up like this. And I'll go into why just for fun. I've already talked about this before, but because I live in like the Death Valley desert out in the middle of nowhere type situation, there's going to be times when I'm here where I'm going to be stuck in my tiny home because it's 130 degrees outside. And so when there are those times, I like to have my place to be a place that I enjoy being, because I'm gonna be stuck here anyways. So that's why I have my place all tripped out with fucking all kinds of wacky shit. All right, so anyways, we'll turn the music down, and yeah, people are coming and going. It's funny. It's weird watching that. Like someone will come in and then they'll just automatically leave, which I get it. Yeah, why hang around, you know? So this live stream video is for my entertainment and educational purposes only. Any and everything I say could be wrong. Do your own research and come to your own conclusions. So this in the background, we're listening to Sean. I'll turn it up a little bit. The band is called Sean. And there should be no copyright issues at all whatsoever for me to have this playing. And so I'm curious to see if YouTube is going to put some kind of copyright issue thing. So let's listen a little bit. My speakers are blown. I might go buy a new speaker today. So Sean is a two-piece band. It's drums and keyboards, and that's it. And I like them. Yeah. So I've been at least one of the bands that I used to play bass in. We've played shows with these guys, and they're fun to watch. The drummers, well, they're just fun to watch, but whatever. That's just my opinion. Like the drummer's insane. All right, so anyways, let's turn this down. Right, so I got no viewers. Man, that's cool, man. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's not. But I really don't understand why I should care if there are any viewers or not. You know, they come and go all the time, coming and going. So yeah, I got nothing. So I'm just kind of gonna bullshit about whatever. So I posted a video earlier this morning, or like an hour ago, and I was just bullshitting about stuff. I can't even remember. There really was no point. There is no point to this video either. So maybe I'll just cut this one short because I don't really know what the point is of doing this video. There's like stuff that I want to talk about, but I'm trying to figure out what's the best approach. Because I could talk about like what's popular, the Epstein files, you know, Epstein files, right? So we'll just start with the Epstein files. I'm going to do a little list real quick. I'm going to get some paper and a pen. Here's a pen. Here's some paper. All right. So let's go over what's important. Let's go over what's important in life right now. All right, so we got what's important, the Epstein files, right? So here we go. The Epstein files. The Epstein files. That's important, right? Okay. What else? Is there anything else important besides the Epstein files? I can't think of anything. If anybody can think, is there anything important to talk about besides the Epstein files? If so, leave it in the comment, because that's what we're going to talk about. So we're going to talk about the Epstein files. Well, we'll just start with that, because I can't think of anything else. Epstein files. And see, they're gone. These motherfuckers, they just come and go. So, okay, so the Epstein files is really important, right? So what about the Epstein files is so important? The victims, right? The children, save the children. Is that what? So the Epstein files is important because the children save the children. So let me try to understand this. So people that are talking about the Epstein files, they're not talking about the Epstein files for clicks, likes, and views and subs. They're talking about the Epstein files because they care about the children. Is that what I'm supposed to believe? Now, do you believe this? That the reason they're talking about the Epstein files is because they want to save the children, or because they want clicks, likes, views, subs, etc., etc.? Which one do you think it is? And see, I have a small subscriber base, but I feel like I kind of know my subscriber base. And that my subscribers are not stupid, and they're going to say the reason people are talking about Epstein files is for clicks, likes, views, subs, etc., not because they care about the issue regarding Epstein files. So, don't you think that's kind of fucking like disgusting? Like, isn't that kind of retarded? Uh-oh. Yeah, so the reason everybody's talking about the Epstein files is because they want clicks, likes, views, and subs, not because they care about the victims of the Epstein files. You know? Isn't that weird? So, okay, so all these guys that are talking about the Epstein files so that they can get clicks, likes, views, subs on their channel, what they're trying to tell you is that they're covering the Epstein files because they care about the issue, not because they care about clicks, likes, views, and subs. Okay, so let's think about this. If they care about the victims of the Epstein files, well, who are the victims? Who are the victims of the child sex trafficking? The children, right? Okay, yeah, the children, but what children? Which children are the victims? Is it the middle class children are the sex trafficked victims? Would you believe that if I were to tell you that? Well, I mean, I don't know. All I'm saying is, all my point really is that it's if you look at it from a class conscience perspective, the economic class of sex traffic victims would be the poor and low income and homeless. That would be the economic class of children that are being sex trafficked. Generally, right? So I got these motherfuckers, they're just coming in and leaving. It's really fucking crazy. So I guess what I'm saying is like I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. It's like somebody's trying to sell me a vacuum, and I'm not buying it. And then the more I observe it, the more strange it becomes, because I start to think of like what type of person would buy into this bullshit, would believe any of this stuff about Epstein. Like it's just meaningless garbage is all it is, you know? I mean, the topic itself is very important, but the people that are covering it are just spewing out a bunch of garbage. That's all it is. You know, do they really care about the child sex trafficked victims, or is the only reason they're covering the Epstein story is for clicks, likes, views, and subs? And again, I think you know the answer to this question. I think the answer to this question is obvious, that the only reason people are covering the Epstein story is for clicks, likes, views, and subs, not because they care about sex trafficked children. This is totally obvious. And so I guess where my curiosity lies is why would anybody watch this shit if they know that these people are only covering the story for clicks, likes, views, subs, not to get to the truth about the sex trafficked children on the Epstein Islands and the P. Diddy parties. Yeah, I got these people, they're just coming and going. So anyway, but I guess it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. And I guess my point is that if it doesn't matter, well, then it doesn't matter, right? If the only reason all these YouTubers and bit shooters are covering the Epstein story is for clicks, likes, and views, well, then it doesn't matter. The story doesn't matter. That's the way I see it. And if it doesn't matter, why should it matter? For clicks, likes, views, and subs, that's why it matters, right? So, but whatever. And that doesn't matter either. Like, nobody cares that people are just exploiting the Epstein file story for clicks, likes, views, and subs. I mean, just think about it. I'm going to take like this big story about molesting children and use it for my own personal gain? Like, what the fuck? There's got to be something severely wrong with me if that's what I'm going to do, you know? And everybody's doing it. So that's pretty crazy. So anyways, the Epstein files, you got the Epstein files, right? And that's about it. What else? What else? Is there anything else? No. There is nothing else. So I'm just experimenting with the live stream. My last live stream went all right. Oh, I know. I just remembered there's another really like popular subject, and it's the Jews, right? So let me ask a question about the subject of the Jews. Are all these people that are doing all this content allegedly exposing how evil the Jews are they doing it because they care to fight evil, or are they doing it for clicks, likes, views, and subs? So when a person is trying to tell me they have this channel and it's all about exposing to me, the audience, how evil the Jews are, is that channel trying to tell me how evil the Jews are because they care about fighting evil, or because they care about clicks, likes, views, and subs? You know, and I guess the argument could be both. Well, it's like they care about, you know, clicks, likes, views, and subs, but they also care about exposing the truth about the Jews. So you can have your cake and eat it too then, right? Wow. I didn't know this. I didn't know that you could have your cake and eat it too. I mean, I guess the way I see it is it's either one or the other. If you're going about like screaming from the rooftops on the internet of how evil the Jews are, there are only two reasons you would do that, is for either for clicks, likes, views, and subs and dopamine hits, or because you really truly care about standing against evil. It can't be both. And I guess that's where my opinion may differ from many other people's opinion. So the Jews, right? The Jews. The Jews. So anyways, these are the two topics that so I'm going to write that one down. So we got the Epstein files is really important, right? According to popular opinion on the internet. And then the next really popular thing, according to popular opinion on the internet, is the Jews. So we got the Epstein files and the Jews. All right? The Epstein files and the Jews. And these two things are interconnected because you know, Jeffrey Epstein was a Mossad agent. So these two things are interconnected, the Epstein files and the Jews. I'm sorry, dude, this is just whatever. Okay, so, and that's popular opinion tells me this. Okay. So it's very virtuous. This is about morality and virtue. To discuss the Epstein files and to discuss the Jews, this is all based in morality and virtue. It's not based in just getting clicks, likes, views, and subs and telling your audience what your audience wants to hear so that you can continue to, you know, achieve success. Achieve success. Yeah. So anyways, I don't know. So we're talking about the Epstein files and the Jews. And I don't get it, bro. I really just I don't get it. I guess I'm just a sheeple. You know? I don't get it. It's just like you don't get it when I talk about how the majority of all the sex trafficked children come from poverty and homelessness. You don't get the relevance to that, right? You don't care. Okay, so if you don't care about that, then why should I care about anything that you say about the Epstein files? I see, and so my argument is that I shouldn't care. If you don't care that the majority of all sex trafficked children are coming from poor and homeless families, and you don't care about that, well, then that just shows me that you don't even care about the Epstein files at all. And so for you to go on and on about how much you care about the Epstein files, I don't believe you at all. I don't believe it. And I'm never going to believe it. There's nothing that you're ever going to say that's going to convince me that you care about the Epstein files if you do not care about the fact that the majority of sex trafficked children come from poor and homeless families. So if you don't care that the majority of sex trafficked children come from poor and homeless families, then I know that you don't even care about the Epstein files at all. You just don't. That's all there is to it. Like there is no other way. There is no way around it. If you don't care that the majority of sex trafficked children come from poor and homeless families, well, that's just proof. That proves that you don't care about the Epstein files. The only reason you would ever talk about them is to gain clicks, likes, views, subs, you know, because it's fashionable, trendy, popular to do so. And that's it. So, yeah. And so you don't understand what I'm talking about when I talk about how the majority of all sex trafficked children come from poor and homeless families. You don't want to understand that. So I don't want to understand you at all. I don't want to understand what your hot take is on the Epstein files. I have no interest in it at all, because I have no interest in your hot take on the Epstein files, because I know that you don't care about the Epstein files. Because if you did care about the Epstein files, you would be talking often about how the majority of all sex trafficked children come from poor and homeless families. And you never talk about that, but you go on and on about the Epstein files. And you're implying that the reason you go on and on about the Epstein files is because you care. So you see how this is all bullshit. This is just more bullshit. Right? This is just more bullshit. That's all it is. Okay? And I could continue to talk about how this is all bullshit, but you know, nobody's gonna listen because people like bullshit. And that's okay. And it's the same with the Jews. It's the same with the subject of the Jews. Like, people don't care about the subject of the Jews. They just talk about it for clicks, likes, views, and subs. That's the only reason that they talk about it. But the big emphasis, the big implied emphasis is that the reason they're talking about the Jews is because they care about exposing the truth. But that's a lie, dude. That's a total lie. And so this is why I don't listen to people who talk about the Jews, because I know that the only reason they're talking about the Jews is, you know, so that they can go over well with their peers, and so that they can fit into the whatever online culture they're a part of. You know, it's just all part of fitting into their echo chamber. It's not about exposing the truth about the Jews. And you know, I can go in and just like explain myself, but it's kind of like, what's the point? You know? I suppose maybe I will. Okay, sure. Okay. So look, if you look at the protocols of Zion, okay, that's what I want to do. So if you look at the protocols of Zion, the protocols of Zion go into explaining how the goal of the Zionists is to basically drive the Goyim into poverty and homelessness. That's like one of the main objectives of the protocols of Zion, is to drive all of you Goyim into homeless poverty. Right? Okay, what I'm doing, all right, whatever, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. Give me just a second to do this thing, what I'm doing real fast. Okay, let's do a thought experiment here. Let's do a thought experiment. Let's say I'm your favorite YouTuber, or your favorite bit shooter, or your favorite, you know, like I'm Joe Rogan. And me being Joe Rogan, I want to talk about the protocols of Zion, because it's like everybody's always going on and on about the Jews and the protocols of Zion and the Jewish space lasers, right? It's such a popular thing that for everybody to talk about. The protocols of Zion, the synagogue of Satan. Well, let's look at the protocols of Zion, shall we? I mean, if everybody's talking about the protocols of Zion and the evil Jews and all this stuff, well, wouldn't it be good to like look at the protocols of Zion and see what they actually say? Or are we just going to blindly listen to, you know, Stu Peters? Are we just going to blindly listen to Stu Peters without first looking into what exactly is it that the protocols of Zion say? So if you have done your research on what the protocols of Zion say, one of the big agendas of the protocols of Zion is to drive all you Goyim into abject homelessness and poverty. Right? Somebody tell me I'm wrong. Like, okay, so I don't want to look at how many people are in my chat or not. So I don't even know if there's anybody in my chat or not. I just taped something over that section of the screen because I don't want to be distracted by whether or not people are in my chat. But if you're in the chat, like, answer me this question. Does the Protocols of Zion call for impoverishing the Goyim into homeless poverty, or does it not? Am I right or am I wrong? And see, this is why I laugh. See, I know I'm right. I know that the Protocols of Zion, one of the big agendas of the Protocols of Zion is to drive all you Goyim into abject homeless poverty. Right? Okay, everybody who thinks I'm wrong, raise your hand. Yeah, that's because you're a fucking retard, right? See, I know I'm right. The Protocols of Zion call for the impoverished fucking homelessness and destitute poverty of the Goyim. That's what the Protocols of Zion call for. That is one of the main agendas, okay? Right? Yeah. And everybody who would ignore this, first of all, anyone who would ignore what I'm saying is a retard and a liar. They're a liar and a fucking retard. You can read it for yourself in the Protocols of Zion. That's what the Protocols of Zion is about. Driving all of you Goyim into abject homeless poverty. Okay. So now that I've accurately established that, well, let's look at what's going on in the United States of America in regards to abject homeless poverty. We have millions of homeless Americans. Huh. Weird. It's kind of weird. So, if I were a JPQ-tard, a Jewish problem question retard, and I were convicted and true to my, my fascism, I would be taking a hard, long look at homelessness in America today. And I would be easily connecting the dots of how all these millions of homeless Americans are directly tied to the Jewish space lasers. And if I were convicted to my fascism, I would be talking about this. I would be like talking about it a lot because there's like millions of homeless Americans, right? So when I see the Stu Peters of the internet, and they it's almost like they tactfully avoid talking about this, of how the Protocols of Zion are all about driving the Goyim into abject homelessness and poverty, and how that relates to the millions of Americans suffering abject third world homelessness and poverty. And I'm Stu Peters and I never talk about that? Well, it's obvious I'm a liar. I'm a bullshitter. And so you got all these people that claim they care about the Jews and the Jewish conspiracy. Well, a big part of the alleged Jewish conspiracy is to drive all you Goyim into abject homeless poverty and homelessness. And if you look at the country you live in, if you live in the United States of America, all you got to do is look. I mean, there's millions of homeless Americans. See, I'm right. But it's interesting how what I talk about is conspicuously absent from the entire Jewish problem question discussion. It's completely absent. I wonder why that is. Another part of the agenda, I just forgot what it's called. What is it called again? The 12 things of the Zion. What is it called again? Shit, I just forgot, man. Brain fart. Protocols of Zion. Another big part of the protocols of Zion is to have the goyim hate each other, so they want the goyim to drive their own goyim into abject homeless poverty. That, dude, I'm not making this up. Okay, I'm totally not. It's in the protocols of Zion. Part of the agenda of the protocols of Zion is to have the goyim drive their own people into abject homeless poverty. And anybody who would tell you that's not in the protocols of Zion is a liar. They're a liar. My point of all this, talking about the protocols of Zion, is that these people that claim they care about the Jewish space lasers and they claim that they're exposing the truth about the Jewish conspiracy, they're all liars, because none of them ever talk about how the protocols of Zion are designed to drive all the goyim into abject homeless poverty, and designed so in a way that the goyim actually drive their own goyim into abject homeless poverty. Okay. So me knowing I'm right, because I've read the protocols of Zion, I start to look at all these people who constantly go on and on about it's the Jews, stupid. Well, if you're convicted to your own beliefs, then you know that homelessness and poverty is caused by the Jewish space lasers. So if you know this, first of all, why do you never talk about it? And second of all, why don't you ever do anything to stand up for all these goyim that are being victimized by the protocols of Zion? This is all the same bullshit. It's all the same bullshit, you guys. I'm reading this comment. Hey, what's up? Hey, hobo. I was given a copy of the protocols by a Greek chef. I apologize. I don't have my old man glasses on. I apologize. Let's see. What do we got? What's up, brother? Thanks for commenting. Even though I know we disagree on stuff, but that's all right. Hey, hobo. I was given a copy of the protocols by a Greek chef. I waited tables for province Rhode Island in 1996. It changed my So if you're familiar with the protocols of Zion, I know that your comments have been getting deleted. I want to ask you a question, and I'm not trying to do gotcha shit or nothing, but I believe I'm totally right on this. The protocols of Zion, a big part of them outlines the agenda of driving the goyim into abject homeless poverty. And I suppose I could be wrong, but if you are at all familiar with the protocols of Zion, can you explain to me if I am wrong and how and why I am wrong in my observation that the protocols of Zion, part of the agenda is to drive the goyim into abject homeless poverty? Is that true or not? So, okay, now I don't know if you're still in the chat or not, but so I'm gonna say that I'm right, because I have read the protocols of Zion, and then to go even further, the protocols of Zion, when it goes deeper into explaining the process of this, it's all designed so that the goyim will actually drive their own goyim into abject homeless poverty, which is also right. I'm also right on that. Okay. Okay, thank you for that. So I'm on point. Okay. And so this is where I get confused, or not even confused. I get I get sick of it. Is none of these people who talk about the Jewish problem question ever talk about this. They never talk about how the protocols of Zion are designed to drive the goyim into abject homeless poverty, and that the way that it is designed is for the goyim to turn on themselves and to drive each other into abject homeless poverty. Like all these Stu Peters and all these guys that go on and on about the Jewish problem question and stuff, they never talk about this. And not only do they never talk about it, they never connect it to what's going on with homelessness and poverty in the United States of America today. So it is my point is that it's conspicuously absent from the entire discussion. And I'm going to say my view on that is because that's all by design. They are not talking, they are specifically not talking about any of this because that's part of their script. And this is what pisses me off, because if a person has a viewpoint that I strongly disagree with, if they are true to their belief system, I respect it whether I agree with it or not. What I don't respect is a person who is never convicted to the very thing that they claim to be, to be. Like if a person claims that they're all about exposing the truth about, the Jewish space lasers and Zionism, all this shit. Like if they don't walk their talk, then I have no respect for them at all. And so this whole thing with the conspicuous absence of this discussion, where it's not even, I mean, dude, like you look at homelessness in the United States of America today, dude, it's like millions. And if it is true that it's the Jews, we'll just go with that, it's the Jews. Well, then it isn't that homeless people brought it on themselves because they're retarded and they're lazy and mentally ill and drug addicts. No. Scripts out. Yes. Yeah. See, these motherfuckers, they're scripted. And it's all about the dollar, bro. It's all about the shekel. And so that's the whole, it's like an extreme hypocrisy. They're claiming that they're against the Jews and that they're exposing the Jews, but they're only doing it for the Jewish shekel. That's it. And that's why they don't talk about what I'm talking about. Like homelessness is a massive component of the fucking, of the protocols of Zion. It's totally undeniable. You yourself agree. Yes, the protocols of Zion are designed to drive the goyim into abject homeless poverty. And the goal is to get the goyim to drive their own people into abject homeless poverty. And it's happening right before our eyes, dude. Dude, there's millions of fucking homeless. And my point is why did arbitrary, what do you mean? What do you mean arbitrary economic markers? Am I wrong? I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe, I'm not sure. I would have to look up the word arbitrary. So, but like, am I wrong? Am I off the beam? Or do you think that I'm kind of onto something that nobody's really talking about? Because if I am onto something and nobody's talking about it, I guarantee you there's a very specific reason they're not talking about it. It isn't because they just coincidentally hasn't crossed their mind or they coincidentally haven't connected the dots. It's because they're intentionally not talking about it. And the reason they're not talking about it is shekel, dude. It's all about money. And so these are my frustrations with like these popular, sexy topics, and the Jews are one of them. Is people are not talking about these things because they care about them. They're talking about them because that's what will get them the most clicks, likes, views, subs. And so they're going contrary to their own cause. If they're doing it for money instead of exposing the Jews, well, then they're a Jew. You know what I'm saying? Like they're a fucking Jew. If they're talking about the Epstein files because it's going to get them clicks, likes, views, subs, and they're not talking about the Epstein files because they truly care about the victims, well, then they're just another PDF. How are they any different than a PDF? And this is what I'm talking about. This is what I've been talking about, okay? But anyways, I don't know. I'm not watching the count on who's on my video and who's not, so I don't know if anybody's here or not. But I do appreciate Donald, fucking like, hey, I'm not trying to gotcha anybody, bro. I'm just trying to understand, because when I read the Protocols of Zion, it's like right there in black and white that the Protocols of Zion say this. That one of the main goals is to drive the Goyim into abject homeless poverty. And that one of the biggest tactics is to get the Goyim to drive their own people into abject homeless poverty. And then you look at homelessness in the fucking country, and it's like millions. And so, and this is the other thing. So what you're telling me, the explanation for all this homelessness is because they're all retarded. It isn't because of the Jewish space lasers. This is where I have a problem. So the person that goes on and on about Jewish space lasers, when the subject of homelessness comes up, they say, oh, those homelessness, they all just brought it on themselves because they're retards. It didn't happen because of the Jewish space lasers. It happened because those people are all retarded. Are you serious? This is what I'm supposed to believe? Like, and so these are inconsistent. Okay, wait, exactly. I apologize. I got to put my, by the way, I'm not looking at the count of who's on my video or not because it distracts me. Let's see. Exactly. Fighting for top space by following the plan. Yeah, and again, Donald, not to fuck with you or nothing, but like in my last live stream, you said, you know, the homeless are homeless because they're retards. But if I'm a Jewish problem question person, and I'm looking at the Protocols of Zion, I could argue that homelessness in America, all these millions of homeless in America, isn't because they're all just retards. Look at the Protocols of Zion. You know, I mean, isn't that been the goal? You know, so, and that's kind of that's my point. And because, okay, so I'm like a dendrologist. I'm not looking at trees. I'm looking at homelessness. Okay. And so when I'm looking at homelessness, and then I'm looking at the Protocols of Zion, and the Protocols of Zion says we want to drive all the Goyim into homelessness. And then I'm looking at homelessness and all these millions, and then I'm listening to people online, and the mass consensus online is everybody saying the reason people are homeless is because they're retards. Okay. Now, if you really want to expose the truth about the Jews and the Protocols of Zion, you might want to start questioning this narrative that all these homeless people are homeless because they're retarded. Especially if you believe that in Jewish space lasers, you might want to start pushing, right or wrong, that the reason all these people are homeless is because of the fucking Jews. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying this in defense of all you people that believe in Jewish space lasers. I'm sick of it because these people that go on and on about Jewish space lasers, they don't want to talk about these uncomfortable truths. They don't want to talk about homelessness and how it's related to the Protocols of Zion. And the only reason is because it's not fashionable to talk about it. It's not fashionable. And that's all part of the control. Dude, they control you through fashion and trends. And so if it's fashionable to say all homeless people are retards, then that's what, if you're a sheeple, you're just going to go with whatever's trendy. And so you're just going to say, yeah, all those homeless are just retards. But if you look at the Protocols of Zion, well, if you believe in Jewish space lasers, that explains homelessness. Not that they're all retards. Is that there's Jewish space lasers fucking exacting all this fucking their protocols. And that's just evidence of it. Okay? So you're shooting your own self in the foot. If you truly want to expose the Jews, you're going contrary to your own cause. If you want to expose the Jews, but then you want to say that all this homelessness in America can easily be explained because all those homeless people are just retards that brought their homelessness upon themselves. Like what are you doing? Do you want to expose the Jews? Or what is it that you really want to do? You see? Anyways, I don't know if anybody's listening to me or not. If you're not listening to me, you can go back and watch. I'm going to publish this live stream. And yeah, so anyways, like I said, dude, I really appreciate someone like Donald actually engaging with me. Because he probably thinks I'm a retard, but even though that, at least he's engaging the conversation. Maybe I'm bringing up some valid points. Maybe I'm not. You know, I feel like I am. And if these are valid points, then the people like Donald and all these other people might have to start looking at, maybe consider looking at things a little different. It's like, well, yeah, if I believe in Jewish space lasers, and the protocols of Zion are outlined to drive the Goyim into abject homeless poverty, and there's all this homeless poverty all around me, well, maybe it isn't that they're all homeless because they're retards. Maybe it is because of Jewish space lasers. I mean, I'm already believe in Jewish space lasers. Why wouldn't I consider the possibility that all these millions of homeless are a result of the protocols of Zion and the Jewish space lasers? Valid point. Thank you. And again, bro, I am not trying to gotcha anybody. I really am not. This is just how my brain works, because I focus on homelessness. Like I have an obsessed fascination with the subject of homelessness, and like, how is it that we're in one of the richest countries, if not the richest country in the world, and we got millions of fucking homeless elderlies eating out of dumpsters and shit? Like, this doesn't make no sense. And then the answer that me and you are always given is always the same. The reason all these homeless people are homeless is because, they're retards. But it's like, what about the Jewish conspiracy? Maybe that might have something to do with it, And I'll tell you what, bro. I've engaged with people in the Jewish problem question community on this, and it's like talking to a flat earther. They're so just like, I guess it requires an open mind, to look at homelessness and attribute it. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to read this one. Yes. They spend $1 trillion on military and has 800 plus military bases around the world. Who's they? The Jews? They spend $1 trillion per year on military and has 800 plus military. I mean, I don't know. Is that the U.S.? Yeah, the U.S. Well, dude, like the statistic came out, back in like 2010 or 2012, that what was this? 4% of our country's military budget would cut world poverty in half. Like 4% of our military budget would cut world poverty in half. So if we just put 4% of our military budget into trying to effectively address the homeless poverty issue in this country, like, we wouldn't even have any homelessness and poverty for the most part, generally. I mean, of course, you're always going to have it to a degree. You know what I'm saying? Got to protect and defend the narrative. Well, and this is another interesting thing. Whoever brought this up, I went into a chat thing with Styx Hexenhammer and Ramsey Paul and what's that? Akan of Assad, or Assad of Akan, or whatever. And I brought this up to them. I said, dude, like, basically, because they all support Trump. And then I gave them a Trump quote where Trump said, we need to stop giving all this money to all these countries that don't give a fuck about us, and start using that money to help the homeless and farmers and U.S. farmers. And Trump literally said that back before he was president on Larry King Live. And he said this. He said, we need to stop giving all this money to all these countries that don't care about us, that would rather see us dead, and start using that money to help the homeless and U.S. farmers in America. Okay. And so I presented that to Hassan of Akkad, or whatever his name is, and Styx Hexenhammer and Ramsey Paul, and asked them to share their thoughts, right? And Hassan of Akkad was the only one that would do commentary on it. The other two, they didn't say shit, because and there's a very specific reason why these guys don't want to talk about this shit. But nonetheless, Hassan of Akkad is the only one who's not American. He's from fucking, I don't know, England or something. And he said that he disagrees with Trump on this. And he said the reason is because if the U.S. stopped giving money to all these countries that don't care about us, that would rather see us dead, it would start a third world war. And if you think about that, essentially what he's saying is, if we started using the money to help homeless Americans and like poor farmers and stuff instead of sending it to other countries, that it would start a world war. So effectively, it's the fucking homeless and poor farmers that are the very thing that's inadvertently preventing a third world war. Because if we were to actually use our money to address problems here, it would potentially cause a third world war. And so then it's like, well, anyways, I know I'm going off all over the place, but it pisses me off. Because I thought U.S. homeless are just worthless people, you know, whatever. I know I'm going off where people don't want to listen, but what the fuck ever. But going back to the protocols of Zion, like this is just a point. And so all these popular subjects like the Jews and like the Epstein files and stuff, the only reason they're popular is so that people can get clicks, likes, views, and subs. It's not popular because they care about exposing the truth about the Jews. It's not popular because they care about the child victims of sex trafficking. The only reason it's popular is so that these fucking cunts can get clicks, likes, views, and subs on their channels. And so they're not even convicted to their own causes. And going back to like the Epstein files as an example. Okay, the Epstein files and all this shit. Dude, the majority of all these sex trafficked children are coming from poor and homeless families. Like, that should be a big component of the story when we're talking about the Epstein files. Nobody ever talks about these children and where they're coming from. And the reason is because nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cares about the truth about the Epstein files. They just care about getting clicks, likes, views, and subs for their fucking channels. And so they talk about the Epstein files. You don't care. And this is my thing. If you don't care that the majority of all these children, sex trafficked children, are coming from poor and homeless families, well then if you don't care about that, then what that says to me is that you don't care about the Epstein files at all. You don't care at all about the Epstein files. You're just pretending to care so that you can fit in with all your fucking friends, right? You honestly, if you don't care that the majority of these sex trafficked children come from poor and homeless families, then you don't care about the Epstein files at all, no matter what you say. And you can go on and on talking about, we need to release the files and this is an injustice and, you know, the victims need justice. Dude, if you don't care that the majority of these victims come from poor and homeless families, then you don't care about the Epstein files at all. And that's all there is to it. And so the Jews is another one. See, these are all hot, popular topics that people always talk about. But it's really obvious that they don't care about it. They really don't. And so it's not everybody, but the vast majority of these people talk about this stuff. They're only talking about it because it's popular and trendy and it's going to get them like clicks, likes, views, subs, etc., etc. And that really pisses me off. That really pisses me off, dude. It fucking just pisses me off, man. And these motherfuckers can make millions of dollars farming content off of a story about a fucking 1,500 sex trafficked children, and they're farming content off of it and making millions of dollars when they don't even give a fuck. Like, to me that's disgusting. Like, people should be pissed. They should be fucking pissed about this. But not only are they not pissed, they actually believe these people care about this stuff. When it's obvious these people don't, bro. It just pisses me the fuck off, man. So anyways, thanks for engaging on the comments. And like I said, dude, like if people can, you know, a lot of the reason I do videos is because I'm trying to figure out, am I tripping or what, right? And so when I was talking about the protocols of Zion, it's like, I'm pretty sure, I'm 99% sure I'm not tripping when what I'm saying about the protocols of Zion. And then people fucking telling me, people that disagree with me are telling me, yeah, you're right. That the protocols of Zion do say that. And I'm like, I knew it. I know I am, you know? So, I don't know, bro. These are just frustrations about, you know, I'm sure a lot of people have them when it comes to the internet and all this shit and whatever. But I don't care. I mean, I care, but I don't. Well, that's the other dilemma. It's like, yeah, I care about the Epstein files, sure. I mean, I do and I don't. I mean, but you know, when the people that are reporting to me all the details in the story on the Epstein files, it's obvious they don't care. The only reason they're doing it is for money. Well, why should I care then? If they don't care, why the fuck should anybody care what they have to say? They're full of shit anyways. They're full of shit. It's crazy how these bullshitters can make millions and millions of dollars a year just bullshitting. It's totally insane to me, man. And there's a reason to not care about money, you know. See, and this goes. I talk about homelessness and a lot, and it's like, dude, why should anybody care about money when the only way to get money is to bullshit and lie? And you know, it's like, come on, bro. All the people that are bringing in all the money are all a bunch of bullshit liars. Well, why should I care about money? I mean, I'm not. I would rather be honest and be poor than be a liar and fucking have a bunch of wealth. And maybe I'm wrong in that, but honestly, I don't care if I'm wrong. If it's wrong for me to care more about being honest than it is about making money, and that's wrong for me to view life that way, I don't even care. I don't fucking care. Like, I just don't give a fuck. Well, I personally value honesty over money. I mean, I like to think that I do, and that's my hope is that I will always be this way. I'm not going to I don't want to change that view. I care more about being honest with myself and others than I do about making money. And if the most effective way to make money is just to bullshit and lie to people about Jews and fucking Epstein files and stuff, like, fuck, I'd rather be homeless. I'd rather be fucking, you know. And, you know, I don't know. People talk about you can make an honest living. Well, it's becoming less and less, which is a good reason to look more into the protocols of Zion and how it's related to, you know, poverty and homelessness and stuff. Like, if they have created a fucking system where the only way to make money is to lie, cheat, and steal, well, then the protocols of Zion are working fucking great, dude. The Jewish space lasers are real, because when you look at the world, the society that you live in, everything is about, you gotta lie to get it, even just to get on food stamps, bro. You could be fucking totally in third world fucking homeless poverty, and you still have to lie just to get food stamps. Even though you qualify for food stamps, you still have to lie to get it. That's the way the whole system works. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, to the person that tries to argue otherwise, I don't know what to tell you other than you're delusional. You are participating in the lie. If you're going to try to defend that that's not the way that the systematization of society works, you're fooling yourself. You have to lie all the time just to get your basic needs met, bro. And everybody does it, and everybody's doing it. And so maybe Jesus was right when he said, sell all your belongings and distribute to the poor. Like, just go be homeless. Like it almost seems like the most effective way to stand against this bullshit system is to go be homeless. Stop doing what we're told we should do. Stop prioritizing money. Just be like, fuck money. Here, give it all to the fucking homeless. You know, like, I don't know. What's the solution to this kind of stuff? I don't know. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, the sky isn't necessarily falling or whatever, but when you look around at everything, bro, it's like, it's getting pretty close to the falling sky, you know, falling skies, you know. Fucking what's next? The, you know, aliens fucking descending, you know, Mars attacks and shit. Would it surprise you if 10 years from now fucking Martians are fucking invading the planet? I don't think I would be all that surprised. I don't know. Like, again, you go back, you got the Epstein files, the Jewish space lasers, you got the fucking vaccine, fucking genocide, the global vaccine genocide, the global fucking scamdemic. And then when you think about that, who is perpetuating all this insane crime? Like, who is perpetuating the global scamdemics? Well, there's your problem. It's not the homeless that are stealing all the cookies and riding off with stolen bicycles. It's these people that are pulling off these global scamdemics. That's your problem. So anybody who would try to divert your attention away from that and try to, point you and then start looking at these, look at this evil person who's stealing cookies and bicycles. Like, who cares about stolen cookies and stolen bicycles? Look at these fuckers up that are fucking, that are robbing the world blind. There's a statistic about natural resources that came out in like 2010, and so it's much worse now. And the statistic is that 2% of the world's population owns 85% of the world's natural resources. That was back in 2010 or 2012. Dude, it's way worse now. Who would argue otherwise? It's way worse now. And so it's so ridiculous when the media tries to direct your attention to people who are stealing cookies and riding off with stolen bicycles. It's like, well, you've got to be a fucking fool. That's fucking 100% propaganda to try to divert your attention to the person with stolen cookie crumbs falling out of their homeless beard, Like, you've got to be like beyond foolish. Keep your eye on the ball, dude. We got a global scamdemic. Like, the largest transfer of wealth in the history of the world was the COVID scam. And people want to try to divert your attention by talking about fucking cookie thieves, What's that? Isn't there that McDonald's character that steals cookies? Yeah. Look at Ronald McDonald or whatever. I don't know, bro. Fucking stupid. So anybody that tries to, whenever I see people try to talk about, like, look at these evil, dirty homeless people, to me, that's an agent provocateur or a useful idiot. That's all it is. That's all it's ever been, and that's all it's ever going to be. Anybody who's trying to tell you, look at these dirty homeless people and what they're doing, they're either a useful idiot or they're a fucking agent provocateur. That's it. And I'm trying to caution people. Don't watch out for these guys. They're always trying to divert your attention to look at those people. They stole cookies. It's like, bro, we're talking about fucking scamdemics and fucking global genocides and Epstein Islands and P. Diddy freak-offs, and some fucking internet influencer is putting out a big story of how some group of people stole some cookies from Walmart. What the that is a fucking agent. That's a total fucking agent, bro. And they're everywhere online. They're all over the place, right? They're everywhere. The internet is fucking dead, dude. The internet is totally dead. The internet is completely controlled propaganda narrative. That's all it is. And it's interesting. Like, I did a video yesterday, and the title was, "Have you heard of the dead internet theory?" Okay, when that video published, YouTube immediately puts in a thing explaining how the dead internet is just a conspiracy theory. So I don't know. Nobody's probably in the chat. I don't know, but are you really believe that the dead internet is a conspiracy theory? That would be like saying that mainstream media being just pure disinformation and misinformation is a conspiracy theory. Well, everybody knows that that's not a conspiracy theory. Everybody knows that mainstream media is just a bunch of propaganda garbage. But yet, the internet is still going to tell you that that's a conspiracy theory. I mean, it's the same with the dead internet. Oh, the dead internet is a conspiracy theory. Funny. That's really hilarious, dude. I apologize. I don't even know if anybody's here or not. Honestly, I don't really care, but Let's see. I just want to go over these comments one more time. I want to make sure I'm not neglecting anything or anyone. Oh, there are two people here. Hey, what's up? I put this thing over my thing so I don't have to see if people watch me or not because it distracts me. Let's see. I seen your video. Yeah, right on, man. Thanks for watching. Man, this thing keeps coming off. Fuck, man. Bullshit, bro. I have to. There, no, exactly. I'm gonna read these comments. That's it. Okay. Well, yeah, this would be interesting to go over too. Like, so Donald's like, "Hey, hobo." Okay, so we were talking about protocols of Zion, and I like because Donald disagrees with me, but we still engage because I need people that disagree with me to engage so that I can figure out where I'm off the beam and where I'm on shit, you know. And so he said I'm on point because I was talking about the protocols of Zion are about driving the Goyim into abject homeless poverty. And he says he agrees, yes. And I'm like, I knew it. I know that I'm right, you know. Anyways, arbitrary. I don't know. I for some reason I don't know what arbitrary means. I think it means something like irrelevant or something. Irrelevant economic markers. Let's see. Exactly, fighting for top space by falling. Yeah. Valid. Okay, so when Donald says valid point, so that's kind of cool because Donald totally like disagrees with me in my last live stream, but then when I started tying it into the protocols of Zion and showing how look, maybe it's not that homeless are just a bunch of retards, right? And so he's saying he's agreeing that yes, I have a point worth considering. And this is the same guy who was like, no, they're all fucking retards. And so, you know, I don't know. I mean, again, I could be wrong. Any and everything I say could be wrong. So anyways, let's see. They spend, yeah, dude, the military budget is arguably way out of control. It's ridiculous. Got to protect and defend the narrative. Yeah, right. Anyways, okay. Yeah, thanks for watching stuff. Like, yeah, I got this thing covering the number of viewers on my live stream because it distracts me from shit. But anyway, fuck, man, I apologize. So maybe I'll just cut it short, and I'm probably coming back and doing another live stream though, maybe, because it's fun. I like doing it, and like later today, or yeah, sometime later today maybe, and because I got the day off today and then I go back to work tomorrow, but I might do another live stream just for fun, you know. But like I said, dude, it's cool because like when I can engage with people sometimes, because I don't know if I'm right or wrong, you know. I live in both Polk County and Pinellas County, and it seems as though the homeless people have been, yeah, bro, I'm telling, dude, okay, see, now I can go off on this too, dude. Okay, to the comment that just came up, man. Okay, there was an article that came out in 2016. I don't know if you remember it, or if you well, anyways, okay, it came out in the Guardian, okay, mainstream media Guardian, in the fucking newspaper in 2016. And the title of the article said, "Hundreds of homeless mysteriously disappear overnight in Salt Lake City." Hundreds of homeless mysteriously disappear overnight in Salt Lake City. And that was the title of the article, okay? And I read the article. And, okay, I'll just do a quick explanation. So there's this homeless organization that's like right downtown in Salt Lake, and like tons of homeless people go there every day. And then one day out of the blue, like there's nobody there, even though it's open. And there's always floods of homeless people there. And it's like one day, just out of the blue, there's no homeless people showed up, right? And so it got so crazy, like people were so tripped out that the cops started going around and like to try to figure out where's all the homeless people. And they even sent a fucking helicopter up in the air to fly into the areas where they know there are homeless encampments. And they're like, they couldn't find them, dude. And they even interviewed the sheriff, and they were trying to ask the sheriff, like, what the fuck, like, what's going on? And the sheriff's response was, I don't know, that's a good question. Like, they don't. So hundreds of homeless people mysteriously disappear overnight in Salt Lake City. Nobody has any explanation for it. Nobody knows. And the craziest thing is, nobody gives a shit. Nobody even cared. And it's like, because think about it, if that article said hundreds of black people mysteriously disappear overnight in Salt Lake City, think about it. The fucking half of the country would be on fire, bro. Like you'd have fucking people freaking the fuck out. If it was any other group of people that hundreds of them mysteriously disappeared overnight, you'd have riots, you'd have, shit would be going down, like, but hundreds of homeless people mysteriously disappear overnight? Oh, well, yeah, moving on. What's next? Oh, yeah, it's so insane. And to me, it's insane. Like, to other people, it's like, they're like, yeah, I don't know. To me, I'm blown away, bro. Like, it's total bizarro world. And that's what I mean. Like when you look at shit through the homeless lens and you start looking at like this stuff going on with homelessness, it's so bizarre, bro. It's so bizarre. And everybody is so, they're just, what's the word? They're just like automaton. They're so checked the fuck out that they don't understand. Like, why is it that if it was hundreds of black people mysteriously disappear overnight, the country would fucking freak the fuck out and there'd be riots everywhere? Why is it that? But if it's homeless, hundreds of homeless disappear overnight, it's like nobody even cares. It's like whatever, back to the Jews, or I don't know. Anyways, let's see. I usually drop off food and hang out with a lot of the homeless around my area, and I don't see any. Wow. Yeah, no, that's crazy, man. And I don't know what's going on. I mean, with the disappearing homeless, okay, like conspiracy theory time for me. This is my conspiracy theory, and I don't think it's a theory at all. Like, if you want to control and enslave and genocide the masses, the easiest way to do it is manufacture poverty. There is no more effective way to enslave and genocide the masses than to manufacture scarcity and abject poverty. It's like I want to set up a Steven Crowder table and say, prove me wrong. The easiest way to control and enslave and genocide the masses is manufacturing poverty. Easy. And then it's not traceable. You can't trace it back to anything. You can't trace it back to Fauci or, if they want to genocide, do a global genocide, just manufacture fucking poverty, bro. And then when you look at the World Economic Forum, that's what it's all about. They're like, we have all this global poverty is increasing and we need to save the world, And nobody cares. That's what I'm saying. That's what's so mind-blowing. And when you look at how nobody cares, right? One of the only ways to gauge it is to look at what are people talking about in the arena of public discourse. And that's the only way to gauge what people do care about and don't is by looking at the what are they talking about in the arena of public discourse. And when you look at what people are talking about in the arena of public discourse, this is conspicuously absent from all discussion in the arena of public discourse. And it's like, that is not a coincidence. And that people would think that that's a coincidence is really bizarre. Like it's just, yeah. And so that nobody cares, it just blows my mind. And so then this is what I see going back to conspiracy theories, like Angry Hobo conspiracy theory time, is it's conspicuously absent from all public discourse right now. And in my conspiracy theory is that if and when it does become it does become part of the public discourse, that signifies like the end. Maybe not the end, but like shit is about to get really, really bad when this stuff starts to become a popular discussion in the public arena. And the reason is because they're allowing this truth to come out. They've been suppressing. The reason it's conspicuously absent is because they don't want people talking about it. So if and when this starts to become, common in the public discourse, that's it. That's like biblical shit. That's like the last trumpet of Revelation. That's like the sign of the last trumpet. Is like when they start talking about this, I would be really fucking watching your fucking back and watching the horizon for nuclear fucking mushroom cloud bombs and shit going on. You have a friend. I appreciate it, dude. Yeah, no, and honestly, like, even though like I come across maybe as an asshole to some people, and I do kind of have a G.G. Allen kind of approach. Like, I don't really care about being politically correct. Dirty words, like I'll say retard and cunt and dude, this is 2025, bro. This is 2025. I'm just gonna talk how I talk. I don't know what and I forgot where I was going with that, but no, oh yeah. Well, dude, I'm just doing this because I love humanity. That's the only, besides the fact that it's entertaining to me, I do like talking about this because the funny thing about it is that nobody talks about it. That's what makes it so hilarious, because I know why nobody's talking about it. It's, I know why people aren't talking about it is because of superficial reasons. Is the only reason nobody's talking about it is because it's not going to go over well with their peers. It's not fashionable to talk about it, and these are all the stupidest reasons. Like, that's the dumbest reason to not talk about this shit. And so I'm laughing, I'm just laughing at how stupid everything is. And so in that sense, it's entertaining for me to talk about it. But other than that, like, the real other reason I talk about it is because, dude, like, because somebody needs to be talking about this shit, man. And it really needs to be, it's the people that have large platforms and have large audiences, it's their responsibility to talk about it. Someone like me or you, I mean, you could argue it's our responsibility, but we don't have a fucking large platform. So I don't hold that standard to someone like me or you. I don't hold that kind of standard that like a Baffled by Bullshit channel, for example, that he should be talking about this or that. Like, no, the people that should be held to that standard are the ones that have millions of fucking subscribers that are bringing in hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Those are the motherfuckers that need to be held to the standard, and they need to be talking about this shit. And the only reason they don't is because it's not fashionable, because they're controlled by their audiences and they're controlled by money. And if they start talking about something that's not fashionable, they're going to lose all that hundreds of millions of dollars coming in. And, that's the fact, And so a lot of what I do is I'm just trolling these guys, like these millionaires. It's like, dude, you're just a controlled fucking, sellout, bro. Come on, man, get real, man. Stop bullshitting, man. You can't bullshit a bullshitter, you know what I'm saying? So I'm running around door dashing, letting your video play loud. So I'm sure a lot of people are. That's funny, man. But anyways, I don't know how much I could say right now. Really, but I just think that I have some valid points, and there's so much gatekeeping and all that stuff that it's like people are just going to believe what they want to believe. They're going to hear what they want to hear, and they're going to any and everything else. They're going to fucking inject shit into their lips so they have duck lips and all kinds of dumb shit before they'll ever acknowledge like truth and stuff. And I don't know why that is. I don't know. And if I'm not like that in any aspect of my life, it's of no virtue of mine. It really isn't. It really isn't any virtue of mine. Like my views on, because I lived on the street for 10 years, it changed my perspective. How do I say this? Like if I hadn't lived on the street for 10 years, I would have a completely different perspective. Because I lived on the street for 10 years, that's why I kind of view things a little bit different. Like when people are talking about the Epstein files, for example, I look at it and I'm like looking at it a little bit different, because what I'm seeing is the majority of all these sex trafficked children are coming from poor and homeless families. It's like, why ain't nobody talking about this? And so, so I just try to bring a different perspective, a different perspective. Same with like the Protocols of Zion and the Jewish space lasers. It's like, dude, look at the Protocols of Zion. It says that the whole goal is to drive the Goyim into abject homeless poverty. It's like, why aren't they talking about these things? Why is this conspicuously absent from everything, even though it's directly tied to all this popular, sexy flavor of the day, week, and month subjects? Why is this so absent? And so I just try to bring that part of it, and maybe because I think I'm right. I think I have valid points, but but it's, the overall consensus is that these are not valid points at all. That's what the overall consensus is people just don't want to hear it for whatever reason. And so, yeah. But like I said, if and when this stuff does become, a big part of public discourse, that to me, in my view, that means that shit is really about to go down like any minute. Once they start talking about this, that means that basically what that means is, like Frank Zappa said, it's no longer profitable to maintain this illusion. And so now they're just going to tell you the truth. Because it's no longer profitable. They're not getting anything by suppressing these things that I'm talking about. It's no longer profitable to do this. And so then they're just going to push the tables and chairs to the side and pull the curtains, and everybody's going to see the brick wall at the back of the building. And once that brick wall is exposed, that's when shit is really going to go down. You want to talk about vaccine genocides and all this other shit? Like, it ain't nothing, bro. And this is my conspiracy theory. This is what I believe. Is that when they start talking about this shit, dude, holy fuck, man. Prepare for a life of poverty and homelessness, or whatever. But anyways, let me see. Let me read the comment here. Let me see. Much love and respect to you. You too, bro. I have to go too, but I'll try. Okay, no problem, man. And thanks for engaging and shit. Right on. And but anyways, I've been talking for like fucking an hour and 30 minutes, so I'll just cut it short for now. Maybe I'll give a minute or two if anybody wants to troll me or anything, and for fun. I'll wait a little bit, and because I have two people I see. Yes, I see you, motherfuckers. I see you. And but anyways, if anybody wants to troll or anything like that, then I'll wait for a little bit, and then after that, I guess I'll bounce out and stuff. But I had fun though doing this video. See, this is fun. That's kind of the point, man. Might as well have fun, right? So I had fun doing this live stream, and salute. and I had fun doing it, and so I'll do more live streams as long as it's fun to me. And I might even do one later today, but anyway, damn, now people are coming in. I'm about ready to get out of here, man. Like I said, if anybody has anything to say or wants to call me out on my bullshit or anything, do it now or forever hold your peace. Yeah. Anyway, today is Saturday. It's 11:05 here, and I got the day. I'm back to work tomorrow. Go on now. Okay. All right, dude. See you guys. Come back later. I'll be posting more videos too. But check out the live stream, I guess, if you're interested, and that's about it. So we'll see you, boys.